Let's wait for some more second and then we will proceed in this live session on how to interlink different administrative thinkers. Please tell me that whether the voice and the audio and video is clear or not, so that we can proceed further. Please tell me through the comment section that whether the voice is clear or not, or whether I am visible or not. Let's wait for some more second and then we will proceed in this lesson to how to interlink different administrative thinkers for public administration paper 1. ओके क्लियर है, ठीक है. Some more second and then we will proceed in this lesson. Okay, so let's get started in this particular session and let's understand that how we can interlink different administrative thinkers. So before proceeding further, let me introduce myself. Myself Rahul, and I'm an educator at Unacademy. You can follow me on Unacademy for courses and for the crash course on public administration optional. So as the prelims result is out on this 14th July 2018, and so now is the time that you can enroll to this public administration crash course. It is free of cost. You can follow me on Unacademy and the link for the same would be provided in the description box below. So let's understand in this particular lesson, in this particular session, we are going to understand that how we can interlink different administrative thinkers. So as you know that we have this book called Prasad and Prasad. So you need to refer to this particular book. So as you can see here, Prasad and Prasad, the administrative thinkers by Prasad and Prasad. Okay. So you need to mug up the thinkers so that you can write better answers in your examination. So let's understand that how you can interlink different administrative thinkers. So there are basically 20 to 21 administrative thinkers that you need to interlink so that you can get the proper marks in your examination. So first of all, if you want to interlink different thinkers, then you need to write, then you need to understand the names of the thinkers. So there are 4 levels that you need to conquer if you want to interlink different administrative thinkers. For example, there are different administrative thinkers. If I ask you the name of these thinkers, you would answer me that MP Follett is there, Henry Fayol is there, Frederick Winslow Taylor is there, other classical and human relation approach thinkers are there, as you know about it. So first of all, I'm talking about the beginning level, that how you can understand the how can you grasp this public administration. So first of all, what you need to do, just try to remember the names of the thinker. Okay, so the basic level that you need to attain for the very first time, that you should need to understand the names of the thinker, you should need to remember the names of the thinker. Okay, so for example, and just try to correlate it with the Indian cricket. Okay, so what happened basically, that in Indian cricket, if I ask you that tell me the name of 11 cricketers. Okay, tell me the names of different cricketers. Okay, so hello Dibyansu, so let's proceed, and you are not late. Okay, so let's understand this thing. So first of all, you need to remember the names of the cricketers. Okay, just understand this thing like the cricket. Okay, as you know that cricket is the religion in our country. Okay, so for example, if I ask you that tell me the names of the cricketers, then you can easily easily answer the question, okay, and you just give different names. If I ask you 10 names, you will give 20 names, okay. But in case of administrative thinkers, we are unable to understand the names of the thinker, we are unable to remember the names of the thinker. So what you can do, just try to understand these names, just try to remember these names in a unique way. So there are two ways to remember. One was just try to correlate it with the cricket. So in cricket, what happened? There are two ways. Just try, either you can remember the names, okay, or what you can do, you just understand the basic concept in cricket. For example, two were openers, and then the first down, some are bowlers, some are bowlers, and some are spinners, okay. Similarly, in public administration, just try to understand and just try to remember these players, these administrative thinkers, by using this ideology, so that you can understand these in a better way. Just try to understand that there are certain classical thinkers. So don't remember 21 thinkers, remember only classical thinkers, okay. Just go deep into it, that who were the classical thinkers. So we have different classical thinkers like Henry Fayol, we have Gulick and Urvik, Mooney and Riley. Just try to remember it like that. Similarly, go to the another thinker, another approach called human relation approach. Then what you will do, just try to remember the thinkers related to human relation approach. Then move on to the another approach called behavioral approach. Move further to the ecological approach, and just try to bifurcate the whole scenario of public administration into different parts, okay. So now you are able to understand the concept behind remembering the things, okay. So either you can remember it directly, that Henry Fayol is there, and directly you jump to the Abraham Maslow, but in this way you are unable to understand the things, okay. So the first thing that you need to concur, that you need to accomplish, is to remember the names of the thinker, because when you start your preparation in case of public administration, you need to remember the names of the thinker, okay. And apart from that, the second level that I'm going to talk about here is to understand the each administrative thinkers by bifurcating his or her theory into different parts, okay. So what I am saying here, that suppose we have Woodrow Wilson, okay. So you know about Woodrow Wilson, so just try to bifurcate his theory into different parts, okay. So for example, Woodrow Wilson is there, okay. So just try to bifurcate him into different parts. So you will find that in the ideology of Woodrow Wilson, you will find science of administration, you will find politics administration dichotomy, you will also find the dichotomy of business administration and public administration, you will also find comparative public administration, okay. So he was considered as the founder of comparative public administration. He talks about comparative public administration, okay. Just try to understand the thinkers in a zoom in process. So what happened, for example, if you want to see an image, okay, you have an image, so you just zoom in into it. Similarly, just try to remember the names of the thinker and just zoom in into these thinkers, okay. So for example, for Woodrow Wilson, just make notes of 3 or 4 headings, that yes, I want to remember these things, okay. Don't go deep into it, just try to go in a process. So just try to remember 3 or 4 headings. Similarly, for Frederick Winslow Taylor, you can remember things like functional foremanship, you can remember the things like work study, method study, time study, you can remember the things like soldering, you can remember the things like differential piece rate system. Similarly, in case of Abraham Maslow, you can understand him as a motivation, you can understand his theory need hierarchy as the motivation. Similarly, you need to bifurcate every thinker into certain parts, okay. So just try to bifurcate each and every thinkers into certain parts. So why you can do this thing, how you can do this thing, so either go through the book, okay. So in book you will find all these things in a better way. And apart from that, you can also join my crash course on public administration, because in that course, in the slides, I write the heading itself. Those things, the things that I'm telling you, I write the headings, I write the headings of these lines only. For example, in Woodrow Wilson, you will find the headings like science of administration. You will find headings like that. Whatever I have told you, you will find the headings like that. So you can do this thing. So there are two levels. First level was the remembering the name of the administrative thinkers, and the second level was the scenario of understanding two to three headings of a particular thinker. Then comes the another level. So four level in this the whole process would be summarized in the four levels. So third level is the level in which you need to compare and contrast different administrative thinkers. So what you can do, just try to don't get confused about this thing that I will compare easily in the examination. So what happened that UPSC is known for destroying your mindset. So before going to a real exam, before going to take the real exam, you just need to destroy your mind self himself or herself. Okay, so so face surprises in your room rather than to face surprises in the shock in the examination hall. Okay, so just try to compare and contrast different thinkers by your own. Okay, so suppose we have Henry Fayol, we have Frederick Winslow Taylor. Just compare and contrast. No matter what I am saying, there is no need to compare and contrast only Fayol and Taylor. Just try to do this with all 21 thinkers in the permutation and combination sort of thing. So if you are from the mathematics background, you can understand this mathematics of permutation and combination. Just try to link. For example, on the first side you have ABC, on the second side you have ABC. Okay, EFG. Okay, so ABC, EFG. Just try to link A with E, A with F, A with G. Similarly, you need to understand this thing, that just try to link the administrative thinkers in this way. And apart from that, the fourth level that you need to understand, after doing this thing, you need to do this thing for all the administrative thinkers written in this particular book. So whatever the thinkers written in this particular book, you need to compare and contrast different thinkers. Okay, so that you can get the proper grasp. You are not supposed to study in a single framework. You are not supposed to study in a single perspective of mind, that yes, we are going to study this thing. You are supposed to study in a broader sense of mind. Okay, so do this thing with all the thinkers. If you have any problem, you can just ping me at unacademy.com, and I will surely help you, and I will help you to correlate the different administrative thinkers. Okay, and after that, the fourth level that I am going to tell you is to extract some sort of common factors from the different administrative thinkers. Okay, so by saying this thing, what happened, what I am trying to say, that you have remembered the name of different administrative thinkers. Okay, apart from that, you are able to correlate them, and you know about the ideology of these thinkers. So now what you need to do, just took some common factors from the different administrative thinkers. So don't think, and there is no way out. If you think that I will directly jump to level 4, you need to accomplish these level one after the another. Okay, so the in fourth level, what you need to do, just took some thinker. Okay, so for example, some common factors are there. Okay, so common factor basically means that took some common factors that are common in the ideology of different thinkers. For example, we have authority. Okay, so took some word in your mind, authority. See, okay, so we have the word authority, AUTHORITY. You have authority. Okay, so just try to analyze this authority with the help of different administrative thinkers. So you will find this thing, that Chester Bernard gave a particular theory on authority, which is known as acceptance theory of authority. Okay, am I right or not? Okay, you must be aware about this thing. You must be knowing about this thing, that how Chester Bernard talks about the acceptance theory of authority. You must be knowing about this thing, that the extent of acceptance theory of authority is extent of this particular theory was characterized by the contribution and this contribution satisfaction equilibrium. I have already delineated this thing in my crash course on public administration optional, so you can join that, okay, for free also. So what you need to do, just you have this word called authority. You understand that how important the authority is for the thinker called Chester Bernard. He gave a particular theory on authority, acceptance theory of authority. Similarly, if you move to Max Weber, what Max Weber talks about this authority? Again, he defined authority, and he defined the type of authority. He defined that there are different type of authority on the basis of legitimacy. You must be aware about this thing. You must be knowing this thing, that authority may be classified into different categories: traditional authority, charismatic authority, legal rational authority. I have already delineated this thing in my crash course for free, okay. So you can join that course if you want to understand these things, that what these things actually are. So for example, in case of this Max Weber, he classify authority on the basis of legitimacy, okay, traditional, charismatic, legal, rational. So he defined authority in a more better, sorry for this, 1 second. Defined authority on the basis of this thing, okay. So what you need to do, you just took authority. Chester Bernard defined authority in his own way, and another thinker called Max Weber, he gave the difference between power and authority. He defined that power is a good power is bad power, but if we accommodate the legitimacy into power, it becomes authority. So he defined authority, and he further classify authority on the basis of legitimacy into traditional authority, charismatic authority, and this another authority called legal rational authority. If we move on to the another thinker, in case of Henry Fayol talks about the importance of authority and responsibility, okay. So one thinker talks about this thing, that authority and responsibility have a interrelation between them, okay. So if suppose if you give authority to a person, that okay, you need to do this thing, okay. So you provide authority to a person, but you provide authority means you provide some sort of power to that person, but you don't give responsibility to him. So it would be dangerous, because I have a power, but I have no responsibility to do anything, then it would be dangerous. And on the other hand, for example, according to Henry Fayol, for example, you provide me responsibility, okay. So I need to take a crash course on public administration optional, like that. You provide me responsibility, but I have no authority, I have no mobile phone, and like that. So it is wasteful, okay. So he provides this thing, that there is an interrelation between authority and responsibility. So all these things are taken care of in the crash course on public administration optional. I am just telling you the art of interlinking different administrative thinkers. That, for example, I have told you this thing, that take the example of authority. Just try to understand, just try to go again through the particular book called Prasad and Prasad. You will find different thinkers have different scenario, different definition of authority. So Max Weber talks about authority, okay, and another thinker called Chester Bernard gave a particular theory on authority, the acceptance theory of authority. Henry Fayol talks about authority, and Henry Fayol also talks about authority in one of the principle of organization. So I gave you trick of this particular thing, that you need to remember different 14 principle given by Henry Fayol of administration. So there are 14 principle: DU, ES, CASIO, R. So I gave you this trick also. So you need to mug up these things, and you need to correlate these things. Another example of this common factor is the example of, you can say, the management, okay. So in case of management, if you again take this word management and just try to understand this concept by the mirror of different, by the lens of different thinkers. So for example, Rancis Likert gave a different 4 types of management system, okay. So he talks about exploitative authoritative system, benevolent authoritative system, another system called this participation system, and the consultative system. So he talks about the types of organization or the types of management system. Similarly, Chris Argyris, If you go to Chris Hargaris, he also talks about different type of management. He also talks about different types of this management or organizational system. For example, for example, the matrix organization. He talks about the second type of organization as the power contribution organization, कि जितना जो कंट्रीब्यूट करे उसे उतना ही पावर दे दो. तो ऐसा भी उन्होंने एक सिस्टम बताया था. Apart from that, he talks about the hierarchical organization, and he also talks about modified hierarchical organization, which is again equal to Likert organization. So you need to correlate these things with respect to one common factor. Similarly, if you and these are the two example, authority and management system. Similarly, just took another example of this executive function. Okay, so just try to understand that what were the executive function with respect to different administrative thinker. For me, executive functions are different. For you, executive functions are different. Similarly, for Henry Fayol, for Henry Fayol, administrative thinker, for Henry Fayol, the executive functions are different. For other thinkers, these functions are again different. For example, Henry Fayol talks about this thing that the function of executive or the elements of administration are POCCC: planning, organization, command, control, and coordination. Similarly, other thinkers, for example, Gulick and Urvik, so they talks about this particular thing with respect to post-corp. So planning, organization, staffing, directing, coordinating, redirecting, and budgeting. Okay, so you can remember this thing that one thing is given by different thinkers in a different way. So you need to understand this thing. Similarly, Chester Bernard talks about this thing in a different way. He talks about coordination and other sort of thing. Okay, so you just need to mug up these things. For there are 4 levels. If I summarize this session, there are 4 levels. First of all, for the beginner, if you are a beginner, just try to understand the names. Just try to remember the names by the conceptual clarity. Just try to bifurcate the names on the basis of the different approaches. Okay, so use these approach for your convenience. That yes, there are only 7 classical thinkers. Then we have some human relation approach thinkers. We have some other sort of thinkers like that. Then after concluding this art, just try to remember the 3 to 4 headings with respect to every thinker. Okay, just watch my crash course on public administration optional. You will get this thing. And I am not of the view, मेरे में कोई हेकड़ी नहीं है, कह सकते हो मेरे में कोई हेकड़ी नहीं है कि वो देखने के बाद आपका पेपर सॉल्व हो जाएगा. I am not saying this thing, but the fact is you will get the insight to this particular book, because this book is so thin, but if you read this book you can't be able to understand this thing, because there is no pick. बहुत boring किताब है. Okay, so after watching my crash course on public administration optional for UPSC CSE Mains, what happened that you are unable to identify my slides, the slides of my course with this book. Okay, so you will find this thing that my book, my crash course was a summary of this particular book. So you are able to get the insight of this thing, because in this book you will not find the heading of the things, but in my crash course you will find the headings of the thing, so that you can understand this thing in a better way. For example, if any heading you will get, you will understand this thing. So just try to remember the second level, that in second level you need to understand 3 to 4 important things with respect to each and every thinkers. The third level that I have told you, that just try to compare and contrast different thinkers by the method of permutation and combination. Just try to, for example, if you want to compare Mahendra Singh Dhoni with Virat Kohli, what you can do? You are able to compare and contrast only when you are thorough about Mahendra Singh Dhoni's style of playing cricket and Virat Kohli's style of playing cricket. Okay, otherwise there is no way, there is no point to compare and contrast, because once you know about the technique of each of the player, you are unable to compare and contrast these thinkers. You are able to compare and contrast these players itself. That yes, Mahendra Singh Dhoni have a high level of fitness and low level of fitness as compared to Virat Kohli. Similarly, you are able to do certain more things. Okay, so then only you are unable to interlink different administrative thinkers. So the third thing, that you need to compare and contrast different administrative thinkers. Okay, no matter is it given in book or not, no matter is it given in a particular model paper or not. Sorry for this, guys. No matter is it given in your book or in model paper, just compare and contrast. Okay, so whatever you have in this particular book that I shown you again and again, Prasad and Prasad administrative thinkers, so just try to compare and contrast different administrative thinkers. Okay, compare and contrast, compare this thinker with that thinker and so on. Follow this approach, you will surely get an insight, you will surely get a confidence to get a confidence to approach the apart from that, the fourth, the most important thing, you need to took the common pattern. Just take some common pattern and just try to analyze these common pattern with the lens of different administrative thinkers. So you have lenses like convex lens, concave lens. Similarly, took this lens, took a particular common pattern and just try to analyze this common pattern with different administrative thinker. You can also analyze different administrative thinkers like Abraham Maslow and Frederick Herzberg. They talks about motivation, but their sense of motivation, their theory of motivation are quite different. Okay, so just try to compare and contrast these things. I give you the example of authority, that how different administrative thinkers talks about this authority in a different way. Similarly, I give you the example of management system, that how different administrative thinker define this management system. Okay, and I give you example, you can also take the example of administration itself. So as you are studying about administration, so in administration is also a common pattern, because different administrative thinkers give different you can say the definition of administration. For Woodrow Wilson, if I go into it, if I go deep into it, Woodrow Wilson talks about administration as the systematic execution of law. Okay, so Woodrow Wilson talks about administration in his apps, whereas the other administrative thinkers like Mary Parker Follett, so she defined administration in terms of social, you can say the thing called social process or social system. So she defined organization as a social process, organization as a social system, and administration as a social process. Similarly, if we go into into deep into Bernard Chester, Bernard defined administration as the exercise of authority, because all he knows is authority. If I know about money, all I can see is money. If I know about education, all I see is the education. Similarly, whatever what the thinker think in his mind, what the this thinker experience something, he gave the contribution in with that perspective only. So for example, Chester Bernard talks about administration in terms of the authority, that administration is nothing but is the exercise of authority, because all he knows is authority. Okay, so just try to correlate this thing. Similarly, in case of Herbert Simon, you will find this thing, that Herbert Simon said this thing, that administration is nothing but the decision making, because all he knows is the decision making. So whatever the thinker knows, they define their theory according to what they knows actually. Okay, so whatever I know, I define my theory with respect to these things. Similarly, you need to understand this thing, and you need to find out these common patterns from whole administrative system, so that you are able to correlate the different things. For example, if I ask you that correlate theory by of Douglas McGregor with the other theory of Chris Argyris, the management theory, the organizational development theory of Chris Argyris, you need to do this thing, because these questions are asked in a UPSC examination. UPSC will not ask you that write a short note on Woodrow Wilson. They will ask you to link different administrative thinkers. Otherwise, you will go on. You are unable to understand these things. So I hope you are getting this thing. I hope you get this the summary of this session, that how you can interlink different administrative thinker. Again, I'm repeating this thing. Don't think that you will directly jump to level 4 or level 3. Just do this thing in a process. Just start from remembering the name, then move on to 3 to 4 ideology of each thinker. Just सीधा इसको रट लोगे, इसकी आइडियोलॉजी ये थी. ओके, उसके डीप में नहीं जाना है, पहले नाम याद कर लो, फिर रट लो कि हाँ इसकी आइडियोलॉजी ये है। चार चार हेडिंग से ज्यादा मिलेगी नहीं किसी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव थिंकर्स में, ठीक है, 4 हेडिंग मिलेंगी, 5 हेडिंग मिलेंगी। मेरा क्रैश कोर्स देखोगे उसमें मैं वही हेडिंग दिखाऊंगा, ठीक है, वो कहूंगा कि ये है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल रेंसिस लिकर्ट में मैंने कोई हेडिंग नहीं दिखाई है, मैंने जो क्रैश कोर्स में ऐड किया है तो कोई हेडिंग नहीं दिखाई, लेकिन मैंने शुरू में ही बता दिया है कि 2 तरीके की अप्रोच इन्होंने लिए थे, तो वो अप्रोच को समझो, उसके बाद उसमें और डीप जाओ। क्रैश कोर्स को देखने के बाद बुक में और डीप में जाओगे तो और चीजें मिलेंगी। देन मूव ऑन टू द थर्ड लेवल, कंपेयर करो, कंट्रास्ट करो, परम्यूटेशन, कॉम्बिनेशन। 5 उंगली इस हाथ में है, 5 उंगली इस हाथ में है, पहले को इससे करके चलोगे, इजी। फिफ्थ लेवल है कॉमन पैटर्न। Most important thing, the most important thing that you, if you are able to concure this art of analyzing the common pattern, you are able to interlink different administrative thinkers, and you are able to concure the public administrative paper one, and you are able to interlink different administrative thinkers for UPSC mains. So are clear to you. In the upcoming live session, I will tell you that how can you interlink paper 1, the administrative paper 1, with paper 2, with certain example, that how you are able to interlink these things with the contemporary issues in paper 2 of Indian administration. Okay, so ऐसे ही live session होते रहेंगे. If you are liking this session, you can enroll to my crash course on public administration optional for UPSC CSE. The link for the same would be provided in the description box. And apart from that, those of you who are online, if you have any doubt with respect to strategy, you can ask me. Okay, कौन कौन है भैया ऑनलाइन? चलो, किसी को कोई डाउट नहीं है, सब लोग से आ रहे हैं, चलते हैं। तो अगला सेशन हो जाएगा तब इन्फॉर्म कर दिया जाएगा, ठीक है। तो आई होप यू गेट दिस थिंग, यू गेट दिस सेशन, दैट हाउ कैन यू इंटरलिंक डिफरेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव थिंकर्स। सो ओके दिव्यांशु जी, बाय बाय, टेक केयर, and you can follow me on my Unacademy platform, Unacademy profile. The link for the same is given in the description. Bye bye.